Tuesday, March 25th. In accordance with the decision of the Yugoslav Council and of the Regent, Paul Karađorđević, Prime Minister Dragiša Cvetković and Foreign Minister Sinkar Marković signed the Tripartite Pact in the Palace of Belgrade in Vienna. Hitler, the German Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop, and the Japanese ambassador to Berlin, General Oshima, attend the ceremony. After the ceremony, Ribbentrop talks of the unprecedented, inexorable, and minutely planned reshaping of Europe and the Far East that is taking place. The Yugoslav president declares that his country wishes to participate in shaping the new order in Europe. In Germany, the press heralds that the incorporation of Yugoslavia to the Tripartite Pact as another defeat for Churchill's policy and a diplomatic failure for Roosevelt. On the island of Crete, Italian torpedo boats enter the Bay of Soda and attack a convoy carrying soldiers and weapons. The cruiser York is severely damaged. In East Africa, in Eritrea, heavy fighting takes place in the hills near Keren, while in Abyssinia, Ethiopia, after crossing the border, Allied forces march towards Harar to the east of the country. Wednesday, March 26th. In Yugoslavia, riots break out across the country in protest at the signing of the Tripartite Pact. When the politicians return to Belgrade, they find that the Air Force General, Dusan Simović, and a group of nationalist Serb officers opposed to Nazi influence in the Balkans have taken power in a bloodless coup. Those who have taken part in the coup accuse Prince Paul and the government of Prime Minister Cvetković of turning the country into a satellite state of the Third Reich. In Berlin, when Hitler hears the news, he holds a meeting with army chiefs and says unrestrained violence will be necessary to make Yugoslavia an example to others. In London, Winston Churchill and John Winant, the American ambassador, sign an agreement to lease British bases in the Antilles. In Washington, the British ambassador Lord Halifax declares at a press conference that his country and people are ready to fight for 20 years if necessary. In East Africa, heavy fighting occurs between Italian and Allied forces in Keren, Eritrea, while in Abyssinia, Ethiopia, Harar is occupied by the British. Thursday, March 27th. In Yugoslavia, the new young monarch, Peter II, who sympathizes with the British, rejects the agreements made with Germany and calls for a general mobilization. Members of the former government are imprisoned and a new government of national unity headed by General Simović is formed, which immediately signs a non-aggression pact with Moscow and breaks the agreement to join the Tripartite. In Berlin, Hitler, alarmed by the threat to his southern flank following the coup in Yugoslavia, signs Directive Number 25 and orders that both Greece and Yugoslavia are to be attacked by the 6th of April at the very latest. The Yugoslavs are our enemies. and as such they must be destroyed, affirms the Nazi leader. He asks for the collaboration of Hungary, whose Prime Minister, Pál Teleki, is opposed to the invasion of Yugoslavia and has signed a non-aggression pact with the neighboring country. However, the regent, Miklos Horthy, accepts the Führer's proposal, well aware that this will provoke Britain to declare war. Without delay, more than 600 German aircraft of different types transfer to the airports of Romania and Bulgaria. In the Mediterranean, German reconnaissance planes based in Sicily inform the Italian Navy General Staff that they have observed British ships on the move, including the battleships Barham and Warspite, and the aircraft carrier Formidable. Friday, March 28th. In Greece, off Cape Matapan, on the southwestern coast of the Peloponnese Peninsula, Royal Navy and Royal Australian Navy ships, led by Admiral Andrew Brown Cunningham, face in battle a fleet of the Italian Regia Marina, commanded by Admiral Angelo Iachino. The Battle of Cape Matapan ends with the defeat of the Italians, who lose the heavy cruisers Fiume, Zara, and Pola, the destroyers Vittorio Alfieri and Giosui Carducci, and 2,300 crew members. The Allies lose an aircraft and suffer 3 casualties. Cunningham orders a message to be sent to the Italian High Command so that the survivors can be rescued. In Berlin, Hitler meets the Japanese Foreign Minister Yosuke Matsuoka, who has told the Italian newspaper Popolo di Roma that if Roosevelt insists, there will be war. In London, Winston Churchill makes a speech in which he says the way ahead will be arduous, painful, and difficult. However, he has no doubts that Britain will win all its battles, including the Battle of the Atlantic. He later sends a message to Harry Hopkins, an advisor to the American president, requesting more escort ships to protect the convoys. Saturday, March 29th. In Belgrade, Yugoslavia, demonstrations continue against the Third Reich. German women and children are forced to take refuge in their embassy. Prince Paul and his family arrive in Athens. The British government expresses its approval of the coup d'etat in Yugoslavia and prepares a radio program praising the Yugoslav people. In Berlin, Hitler orders strategic points on the coasts of Romania and Bulgaria on the Black Sea to be reinforced. In Moscow, Stalin, following the advice of Timoshenko and Zhukov, orders 500,000 men to be drafted into the armed forces to strengthen positions along the western borders. In the United States, President Roosevelt, on board the Potomac, makes a radio speech in which he highlights the danger posed to America by the European dictatorships, but affirms their attempts to frighten America have only served to stir up its fighting spirit. In East Africa, in Abyssinia, Ethiopia, British troops occupy Dar es Dawa in the east of the country, which was abandoned by the Italians on their retreat to the capital, Addis Ababa. In Eritrea, after 2 weeks of heavy fighting, Mussolini's forces withdraw from Karen towards the capital, Asmara. Sunday, March 30th. In Berlin, Hitler informs his top military commanders that the invasion of the Soviet Union will begin on the 22nd of June. He tells them that it is the most favorable moment for Germany to defeat Russia. We have our back covered. We would be foolish to let the opportunity pass, and the German people would never forgive us. Referring to his Commissar order, he warns that even though many generals don't understand, cruelty now will be kindness in the long run. These are my orders, and they must be blindly obeyed, he says. Later, he approves the final details of the plan for the invasion of Yugoslavia and Greece. In Belgrade, the youthful King Peter II calls on people to prepare for war. The Yugoslav army takes up positions along the western border. The governments of the United States, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Venezuela decide to seize the 65 German, Italian, and Danish ships in their ports and to arrest their crews. In the Middle East, in Damascus, Syria, serious street battles take place between protesters and French troops. In North Africa, Rommel prepares his forces to take Mersa Brega. His orders from General Italo Garibaldi are to occupy the city and then to call a halt to his advance. But Rommel has decided to renew his offensive against the British eastwards through Cyrenaica. Monday, March 31st. In North Africa, Rommel's troops, supported by Stuka aircraft, launch an attack against the British in Mersa Brega. After 2 heavy attacks and hours of bombing from the Luftwaffe, the 5th Light Division of the Afrika Korps takes the city. It is the first battle in Africa in which the Germans use 88mm guns. The Allied forces are forced to withdraw, leaving behind a stock of valuable weapons. In East Africa, British troops reach the outskirts of Asmara, Eritrea, while in Abyssinia, Ethiopia, the rapid advance towards Addis Ababa continues. In Britain, the Royal Navy battleship Prince of Wales comes into service. The RAF incorporates the first Spitfire MKV, more up-to-date than its predecessors. In Germany, the new model of the Fokker-Wulf 189 is shown off. It is powered by 2 Argus engines and armed with machine guns and cannon. The German government breaks off diplomatic relations with Yugoslavia. The United States and the other countries ignore protests from Italy and Germany about the seizure of their ships. The Americans also decide to reinforce the defenses of the Panama Canal and to keep a closer watch on shipping passing through. American scientists arrive at Greenland to study the possibility of setting up a military base.